Welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is part of a special series with our sister publication, Mortgage Strategy, and is in association with Royal London. Royal London would like to get advisors and their clients thinking about the benefits of having wellbeing support services as part of a protection plan. Do listen out for all episodes in the series. Hello, I'm Katey Pigden, editor of Money Marketing. Welcome to the first episode in our special series in association with Royal London, all about wellbeing and their helping hand service that they provide. I'm joined by a couple of special guests today, one from Royal London and one from LiveSmart. Christina, could I allow you to introduce yourself first, please?
Yes, thank you, Katie. So yes, Christina Rigby here from Royal London. My role, I am actually a product owner, and my remit is to help Royal London develop products and services that build deeper relations with our customers. And in terms of helping hands, I led the development of this proposition from idea through to delivery.
Excellent. And Alex?
Hi, Katie. Hi, my name's Alex Heaton. I'm the CEO and founder of LiveSmart. LiveSmart is a preventative health business based in London. We help people to better understand their health and make improvements over time. And particularly, we're really interested in the prevention of disease and detecting disease early to help people to live long and happy lives.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for joining us today. Christina, do you want to start by telling us why you've partnered with LiveSmart and how that sort of works for Royal London and advisors out there?
Absolutely. I'll start with a wee sort of recap of how we've got to where we are. So we've offered a value-added service called Helping Hand for a number of years, but it was very much focused up until recently on helping customers to recover from life shocks. So to give them good support, emotional support, physical support for customers that had some sort of critical illness diagnosis or a bereavement. But with the pandemic coming upon us and certainly a shift in mindset, people are really looking for help and guidance on how to stay well and to prevent diseases. And protection, really, we think in Royal London is and should be much more about than being just about a payout. We should be doing as much as we possibly can to help our customers to actually remain healthy, as well as providing them with help and support and a financial payout if things do actually go wrong. So it was with that sort of mindset that we wanted to help our customers stay healthy that what I decided to do was basically to create a well-being ecosystem and actually try to populate that with kind of best of breed in terms of all the different areas that we wanted to cover. Essentially, to give customers a helping hand to stay healthy. And that stay healthy part was going to be made up of two sort of key areas. One was prevention. So looking for partners who could help us to help customers to prevent illness. And the other area was to give customers access to early care services to help them access medical support, help and guidance if they had something happen, and it would try and stop it from a niggle becoming something big. And it was in that preventative space that we wanted to find a health assessment provider who was able to give customers good, easy to access, easy to understand information that would help them to take good lifestyle choices, that would help them to make sort of changes in a small and iterative way that would, as Alex said earlier, help them to have a healthier, happy, long-term life.
Excellent. So Alex, tell us a little bit more then about the app and how it works and how people can benefit from that.
Absolutely. And maybe I'll just start by saying, if you look at the Office for National Statistics, you'll see there's about 136,000 avoidable deaths per year, and over 10 years, that's, 1.3 million deaths, which is just a huge number, right? And really, what we know is that these sort of deaths are avoidable through either primary prevention, so helping people to reduce their risk through changing lifestyle, or through finding disease early. And really, LiveSmart was set up to do both of those two things to hopefully find disease early so it can be treated sooner, because the sooner that we find things like cancer, for example, the sooner it can be treated and the better outcomes that we have. And the second part is trying to help people to understand where they are in terms of their lifestyle, and then help them to improve that to again reduce their risk of developing disease in life. And in terms of the way that the app and the LiveSmart business works, is that we essentially help people to understand their health through using a health assessment. So we are a medically regulated business. What we do is that we take a very detailed look at all of your life. So we look at everything from your medical history through to nutrition, through to lifestyle factors like stress, smoking, alcohol intake, weight, and we also look at activity levels and mental health. And we combine all of those things together into a really easy to understand interface to help you for the first time hopefully understand what your health status is today, but also not in an individual way. We're really interested in helping people to understand their life in the context of all of their life, right? And what I'm trying to mean by that is that we sometimes just think about one aspect of health, but actually health is connected. So perhaps, we might meet people whose stress has gone up, and that has led to perhaps their diet. In fact, when most people get stressed, often we turn to things like alcohol and food, right, as comforts, and that's normal. But over time, that can then lead to things like weight gain and perhaps people doing less exercise. I know over time this can lead to a whole raft of perhaps risks that start to build. And at LiveSmart, what we really do is help people understand all of their risk factors in one simple to easy to understand way. And then once people understand it, we give people lots of great recommendations on how to make improvements.
Obviously, those recommendations will come from people being completely honest, I guess, on this questionnaire, because I think, like you said, we all might turn to certain things or alcohol or food or know that we should be exercising more and we're not. Is there a worry that people would go, oh, I don't really want to say exactly how I am at the moment. I might just put in something different, or, could that be a concern for them in terms of their protection policy? Maybe if we start with you, Alex, and then Christina, you let us know from a Royal London perspective.
I think the first step is that, the first thing we've got to understand is that the majority of people in the UK do not measure the aspects of their health they probably should do. They don't really know, they don't really have the answers to, am I doing enough exercise? Is my weight okay? Is my stress okay? Am I eating the right things? And so it's really, really important to start measuring our own health, because unless you measure it, how on earth are you going to make an improvement, right? In terms of people giving correct data, what we have seen over the years that we've been operating is that generally people are honest, because actually, if you're not honest, you're only kind of being dishonest to yourself. So the majority of people do answer relatively accurately in terms of giving us data.
I'll just continue on from there. We've gone to great lengths actually to explain, when we've been talking to advisors about the Helping Hand service and in our customer literature, etc., that anything that the customer puts into the health assessment will not have any impact at all on their terms and conditions, and won't be taken into account if and when, hopefully they don't, but if they should actually claim. And the reason for that is we really do view this kind of whole wellbeing ecosystem as a real value-added benefit for the customer. That and as Alex says, if you don't put the accurate data in, you're not going to get the right information out at the back end. And if you don't actually know where you're at, and it won't actually then be able to tell you recommendations on how to resolve these situations or improve your health in different areas. So it is something that we're aware of, that people might be doing that, and that we have gone to great lengths, as I say, to try and make sure that customers know that although we are gathering data on this, it is to help us to evolve the whole ecosystem, and also to work out what partners, in addition to LiveSmart, would it be helpful to have in that ecosystem in addition to the ones that we already have. So again, as I say, it is in the customer's best interest and everyone's best interest to be as honest as possible when doing these kind of assessments. Otherwise, what you get out is not going to be reflective of what's actually going on, and then the support that you get thereafter won't be the right kind of support that's being offered, because it's not based on accurate information.
Alex, what type of questions can people expect to see on this questionnaire then, and assessing their own health, really?
Absolutely. One thing I might just also say is that, all of the questions that we ask are validated from a medical point of view. So they were developed by our medical team, and they can, coincide or they conform to kind of UK NHS standards, for example, in terms of healthy living. So, we ask a whole raft of questions to try and get a complete picture of your health. So, for example, we might ask you about your fruit and vegetable consumption. We may also talk to you about, how many takeaways do you get per week, how much red meat that you consume, because obviously there are guidelines in terms of these things. In addition to that, we'll be looking for some sort of self-reported sort of biometrics like your weight to give us an understanding of where perhaps if you might be overweight or not. In addition to that, we'll be looking at exercise levels. So are you doing the required amount of exercise, both in terms of cardiovascular and also strength? In terms of sleeping, we're hoping we'll talk to you about that. Hopefully you're getting your full 8 hours, but certainly we're interested in your sleep. And also we'll dive a little bit deeper into things like that. So if you're not getting your full amount of sleep, what are the problems? Where is that happening? Is it intermittent? How can we perhaps make some improvements there? Alcohol and smoking, again, key parts of this that we'll definitely be asking. And then finally, there's a sort of mental health section where we ask questions around mood, stress, and we also look at memory and cognitive performance. So the idea is that we get quite a thorough overview of your health. And I think what's really exciting is that for most people, it's the first time that they've managed to get this kind of full health MOT, so to speak.
Yeah. And based on the answers that people give to the questions then, what type of recommendation, if it does flag something, if it does sort of show that there is some issue here or they should be making some improvement somewhere along the line, what type of suggestions or recommendations would that person receive?
Absolutely. So let's take a few examples. So if someone's activity levels, for example, are perhaps not as high as they should be, then we will give them the recommended advice that's personalized to them. So, for example, perhaps they're doing 75 minutes of exercise a week when they should be doing 150. Then we'll encourage them to hit that kind of the guidelines. And then in terms of referral, we'll also refer people to other services where appropriate. So in the case of doing lower exercise, we may refer to one of the other partners in the ecosystem called Pi Health, which is an amazing service that really supports people to improve their exercise over time. And that's because LiveSmart is great at helping you understand where you're at, but there are other services out there that are amazing at actually helping you, that are very specific to things like exercise. Equally, if we talk about mental health for a second, if someone has perhaps slightly low mood, then it may be appropriate to refer them through to Thrive, which you can support with mental health. Equally, it could be that their mental health is quite concerning, and we may refer them to go and see a GP, as it may be a more serious case. So it's all really based on it's dynamic and it's based on your personal health.
So, Christina, Alex flagged a couple of other partners that you're working with there then, and the support services that could be recommended to a client. How has that come about? Do you want to tell us if there's any that maybe he's missed off, or how Royal London have chosen those people to work with?
Absolutely. So one of the reasons we selected to work with LiveSmart was their ability to help us to build an ecosystem. And as Alex has just said, what they do is take the answers to the questions in each of the sections, and they then, at the end of that, the customer gets a really excellent dashboard with a health score, and the 4 sections are kind of highlighted, and there's red, amber, and gold, red, amber, and green traffic light system to say where your areas are good, not so good, and needing attention. And they pull all that information together. And what we've also done is, obviously, as you can tell, Alex is well aware of all the other partners that we've got in the ecosystem, and they pull the recommendations through into the customer gets a to-do page. So it's very easy to find. And it was one of the key things I liked about LiveSmart was the health navigation. I think it's been personally a bugbear of mine, having done health assessments online in the past, that you get told, well, here's what's wrong with you, but then you don't get told what to do about it, or indeed who to go to for that help. So the fact that they had this capability was one of the reasons that that health navigation issue that I felt was real, that we selected to work with LiveSmart. In addition to all their medical credentials, they were really in terms of technology, really strong. So the customer will go to their to-do page once they've completed the assessment and they've read through the report. And the other providers that we offer appear on their to-do list based on the answers we've put in, based on the one that we think would be of the best thing for them to do first. And if it was mental health, then Thrive, that Alex has discussed, would appear at the top. Thrive, their mental health support partner. If it was maybe to address their BMI, their weight, or to do more exercise, then it would be Pi. The others that we've partnered with are Track Active Me, which is, it provides online physiotherapy. So if the reason that they're not doing exercise is because they're currently suffering from an injury, or they've got long-term back pain or something like that, then we've got an online physiotherapy app that actually will help give a diagnosis and a personalised set of exercises that you can track every day from your phone. And the other partner that's as part of the ecosystem is our 24/7 GP service, which is delivered through our partner Health Hero. Now, Health Hero are there to provide access to a GP on a kind of reactive basis. So I've woken up in the morning and I've got a sore throat. But one of the key things that I wanted to include a GP in that space for is you'll often find that customers might have a bad back, a high BMI, and probably maybe suffering from some kind of depression or mental health condition. And where do you start? Like, where do you start in terms, do you try and resolve your back problem? Do you try and lose weight first, or do you try and get your mood up? And I think that's where having access to a GP on a proactive basis really comes into its own. And it's up to the customer. In that situation where there's competing conditions, we would most likely see that the GP would appear at the top of the list, encouraging the customer to have a chat with them and work out, where am I best to start here? What was the best order in which to do this, or best combination in which to do this? And the GPs that we have there obviously have the time to talk about things like that. And it's probably not something that you would be inclined to speak to your own GP about, like, I'm trying to prevent something happening. The NHS GPs are so overwhelmed at the moment with COVID, etc., that really we're encouraged only to talk to them to actually diagnose or treat. But the GPs that we've included in our wellbeing system are there to support that type of thing, but they're also really there to help customers understand, what can I do based on the information I've just been given? What can I do to take the next step that will help me to improve my long-term health prospects?
And how can customers access these services and advisors sort of encourage them to do so?
So they access them through the to-do page. So as I say, there's a list of everybody that's available, and all they have to do is click on the link. That takes them to a page that will give them a lot more information about that provider. And then LiveSmart actually have integrated a slick, straight through transition of the customer to the GP service, for example, the GP booking system. And they're straight through onto the booking system. They can go straight in and put their contact details in, and they can book an appointment straight away. And it's the same with the other apps. Sorry.
Officially, is this because they've bought a particular policy, or they have to do something in order to sort of get access to the questionnaire in the first place? What sort of policies and how does that work with advisors there?
Good question. So this has been made available to our protection customers who've bought Royal London protection products through an intermediary. So we do plan to roll it out to other parts of Royal London, and we do plan to roll it out to our existing customers. So at the moment, it is only available to new customers whose plans start after the 1st of January 2022. But we are working really hard at being able to extend access to all our existing protection customers who've bought plans through an intermediary. And it's any type of protection plan. So a personal plan, a business plan, a whole of life, a relevant life, diabetes, they can all get access to the wellbeing ecosystem through LiveSmart. Excellent.
Alex, before we finish up, is there anything else that you want to say that maybe you haven't had a chance to do so already?
Do you know, I think I'd just maybe like to finish with a bit of an analogy, right? And I think, you know, if we want to go and lose weight, the first thing we normally do is go and buy a scale, right? And then we use that, plus maybe some other support services to help us to lose weight. But if we want to sort of generally improve our health, what do? Right. And I think what's great about LiveSmart and the solution that we've created here for Royal London customers is really we've created a scale for your health, right? We've created the first step that people can use to really truly make that first step of the journey to understand where their health is today, and then refer them onto services to help them to make those changes. And over time, then they can come back to the LiveSmart service to measure how they've improved, right? So for the first time, we're providing a way for people to truly track and improve their health. And I think it's a real step forward for all of Royal London customers that will be using this product.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It can be quite a daunting start of that journey of, like you said, where do I start? So having something like that breaks it down for you and probably highlights, okay, maybe make this a priority. And then there's these other things that you can also work on in the background and come back and see how you've done. Is really good to be able to measure that. And Christina, anything finally from you on behalf of Royal London as to, how advisors can help clients with this or why this service is useful?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just to go back, what this does is turns protection insurance from just being a payout to being actually a product which offers tangible support, which will give really good health outcomes if customers can, take the time and effort to engage with it. It does take a bit of time, although the LiveSmart assessment is really quick and easy to do. And then obviously you can engage with the other partners. But I kind of think I want to reiterate again that we've gone to great lengths to do something a little bit different here, to create this ecosystem full of providers who we have done a lot of due diligence on and have worked with our reinsurers to make sure that we're working with the best of breed in these areas that we've chosen to help people. And those are areas, preventative health, where we can help people to take steps that will help prevent illness, but also some really good quality early care providers on the top areas for going off sick, which are mental health, musculoskeletal, and coughs and colds, so access to a GP. So we've tried to combine the reasons people go off sick and address them with the top preventative access to preventative guidance through LiveSmart and through PI, etc., to make sure that their protection product, stands them in good stead from the day they purchase it right through to the end of their contract.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, that actually sometimes when we're buying these protection policies, it's for peace of mind, something that might happen later on down the line, the things that we don't really want to think of happening to us. And so sometimes you don't really feel that you are getting anything from it. So if they've got something that they can actually make a difference to their life right now, that's really going to be a good sort of point as to why it's important to just get protection generally, but also that you can make a difference now and hopefully maybe avoid some of those nastier things down the line.
Absolutely. Yep.
Lovely. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I found it really interesting to find out more about the service, and hopefully lots of advisors will be able to point clients in the right direction as well when they get their new policies.
That sounds good. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alex.
If you're looking for more information on the new wellbeing services available from Royal London, go to advisor.royallondon.com/helping hand.